Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's live in the Get Unstuck series. I am Sarah Archer. I'm a career and leadership coach, and I work with ambitious professional women who want to get more meaning, enjoyment, and fulfillment out of their careers. So I started the Get Unstuck series to give you some tips, tools, hopefully inspiration about moving your career in the direction that you want it to take. The lives are always very practical. They're around 15 minutes, and there's often things you can take away and implement straight away. So I go live on LinkedIn and also in my Facebook group, the Love What You Do Lounge, and on my YouTube channel. So if you're watching from any of those medium, you're very welcome here today. And if you are with me here live, please do say hello, pop a hello or a wave in the comments. It's always nice to know that people are with me. And obviously, if you've got questions or comments about today's topic, please do pop them into the live and I will answer them as we're going along. And similarly, if you're watching on replay, hello, if you've got a question, do put it in the comments and tag me, and then I will come back and answer those questions later on. So let's dive into today's topic, which is all about, are you peaking or plateauing in your career? Because the symptoms, and I say symptoms in inverted commas, kind of present as the same thing. So that could be that you're just feeling really competent at what you do. You know you're good at it, and you know you can cope with whatever comes your way. So whatever challenge you've got to face, whatever's thrown at you, you've got that kind of inner confidence that I know I can draw on my previous experience, I can draw on my knowledge, my expertise, and I know I can cope with whatever comes my way. And you might also just kind of feel, actually, there's no challenge left here. Actually, I've done probably everything that I'm probably going to do challenge-wise. And also there's maybe no learning opportunities you can see at this point. And I certainly know that when I was an HR director in my last role, I kind of felt I'd done everything from a kind of specialism point of view and a leadership point of view that I thought I could do. So I'd taken the organisation through growth, through contraction, through restructuring. We'd overhauled the HR processes and procedures. We'd done competency frameworks. We'd done pay reviews. We'd done learning and development for the organisation. We'd done succession planning. We'd overhauled recruitment. We'd done dismissals and tribunals. And everything that I could possibly imagine I'd have to do in HR, I felt like I'd done. And also from the leadership point of view, because obviously you've got your specialism, but you might also be a leader. From a leadership point of view, I felt like I'd had every leadership challenge I'd wanted to have in that role. So I definitely knew I was plateauing because I couldn't see myself doing another role in HR. And obviously I went off and had a career change, which can be one of the outcomes when you're plateauing. So how do you know then if you're peaking in your career or you're plateauing in your career? And my take on it would be that it's kind of an energetic assessment. So what is your energy telling you about your role, about your career at the moment? So if you're peaking in your career, you're probably still feeling energized by it. You're probably, feeling quite dynamic. You're looking forward to work. You're looking forward to the challenges. You're kind of relishing the opportunity to kind of get stuck in, get involved, take on new areas. And, you're feeling quite positive about work. If you're plateauing, you're probably going to have lower energy. You might even be a bit meh about work. Not always. It can just be a bit like, okay, same old. I know I can do it. It's fine. It's okay. So you're going to notice a difference in energy. And what you probably want to think about is kind of energy over a period of time, because obviously our energy is going to peak and ebb and flow depending on what we've got going on in our lives. But so if generally, say over the last 2 to 3 months, your energy for work, for your role, for your career has still been high, dynamic, positive, then that would suggest you are still peaking. Whereas if over the last 2 to 3 months, your energy generally has been lower or low around your career, then you're probably plateauing. So I would love to know, if you are watching this, just pop into the comments whether you think you're peaking or plateauing. So just pop in the word peaking or the word plateauing if you are sure about it. If you think you don't know, then put don't know in the chat. But it'd be great to know what you feel you are when you think about it from an energetic point of view. Okay, so what I thought it would be useful to share is the 5 different types of plateauing that you might be experiencing, because you probably didn't know there were 5 different types of plateau. So I'm just going to share that with you, and you can then think about, okay, maybe that's applying to me, and what the danger one might be. So the first kind of plateau is a structural plateau, and that's literally where you're just stuck because of the structure of the organization. So it's just either too small and there's no opportunity to move up, or even sideways into something that's, you know, got a new challenge, or it's a very flat structure and you're, you know, just feeling there's nowhere to go. So it's kind of useful just to know whether that is a structural factor in your plateauing or if it's something else. Hello, Claudia. Lovely to see you. You're plateauing. Okay, well, this is going to be interesting to you then to think about which kind of plateau you might be on. So the second plateau is a content plateau. So that's where you're very good at what you do. So you just know that, you know, you can just, as I said before, cope with everything. You're very good at it. There isn't that much challenge, but you still enjoy generally what you do. So this is different to peaking, because you might think, well, if I'm kind of content and enjoying it, you know, what's the difference between peaking and just being content? And again, it could be around kind of energy, but it could also be about you know, your appetite for achieving things and moving forward in your career. So if you're peaking, you're probably still going to be thinking, okay, where am I going next? What's my kind of next level that I'm going to be going for? If you're just kind of stuck on the content plateau, you're just very happy to sort of stay where you are at the moment. Then we've got the contribution plateau, which is where it's kind of your making. And this is the plateau that's kind of dangerous. So you do want to be thinking, how do I get off this plateau? Because if you're stuck on the contribution plateau, you've just, for whatever reason, and it might be boredom, it might be fear of change, it might be just disengagement, you're just stopped looking for opportunities to develop. You've stopped looking for opportunities to take on more, to be challenged, to learn. You're just kind of feeling a bit stuck and a bit kind of can't be bothered, really. Now, the danger with this plateau, if you get stuck here, then you can become more and more resistant to change. And obviously, in today's working world, being resistant to change is not a good factor to develop, because change is happening all around us. So if you think you might be stuck on the contribution plateau, you do want to be taking action sooner rather than later. Okay, then we've got the life plateau, which is where you might have chosen to plateau for a while because you might have caring responsibilities. And often as women, we do find we have to take on some kind of plateauing in our career because we just can't do everything. So if we've got, you know, young children, or we've got elderly parents or dependents that we have to put energy into supporting, and we want to put energy into supporting, we can't then also find the energy for our careers. So we might choose to plateau on the life plateau for a period of our career. I'm going to talk a bit more about that in a minute. And then we have the voluntary plateau, where we actually love what we do and we want to stay in a kind of more specialist role. So we know that kind of the next move for us would probably be into a managerial or a leadership role. And we know that will take us further away from our specialism, the thing that we love doing. So we actually want to stay on doing what we're doing for a period of time. And it might be, if we're on the voluntary plateau, that we move to organisations that are different to get that new challenge rather than moving up, because we really like the specialism and we don't want to develop in terms of going up the career ladder. So there we are. We've got 5 different types of plateau. So it's useful to think about which one you're on. So again, if you're watching me live and you're comfortable, pop into the chat what plateau you think you might be stuck on if you are plateauing. So we're going to think about what next then. So, if we're either plateauing or peaking, what can we do next to kind of move ourselves forward? Because either way, whether we're peaking or we're on a plateau, we need a plan. Okay, so you don't want to be just thinking, okay, I'm peaking, I'm just going to ride this wave and see where it takes me. You want to have a plan in place to actually maximize that peaking. And obviously, if you're plateauing, you do want to have a plan in place so you're not going to be just drifting, because the danger if you're on a plateau is you just end up drifting. Okay, so Claudia's saying she's on the kind of structural and the contribution plateau. Okay, so the contribution plateau obviously is the danger one. So you do want to be thinking about how you're going to manage getting off that plateau sooner rather than later. And obviously, if you're in a structural plateau as well, that kind of compounds it a little bit, because it could be that the organisation is contributing to that disengagement. Okay, so first of all is to think about having a plan and being strategic in your career. So it might be that you're going to be just putting in some review points in the next year so that you don't kind of drift. So it might be a 3 or 6 month kind of review where I am. Actually, am I okay with where I am? Do I need to be taking action to move myself forward? So making sure you've kind of got some review dates in, so that if you're peaking, you're not going to end up falling into the trap of just plateauing then, that you are going to be moving yourself forward. And if you're plateauing, that you're taking some sort of action, whether that's a move or whether that's actually about bringing in some learning, some development, being quite clear about what skill or experience you want to develop to move you forward, even if you know you're going to be on that plateau for a little while. And if you're on the structural plateau, what you can think about is, actually, do I want to make a sideways move to get more experience if I don't feel I'm quite ready for that next level role yet? So do I want to maybe move to a bigger organization in a sideways move? Or do I actually want to start looking for that next level role in a similar sized organization or a bigger organization? So when I was working in kind of my mid HR role, I wanted to change sectors. So I wanted to move into the voluntary sector. So I took a sideways move, even though I was probably ready for that next level role. I actually took a sideways move to get into the sector rather than trying to do 2 different things at the same time, of moving up and into a new sector. But I had a plan that I was only going to stay in that sideways move for a maximum of a year before I started looking for that next level role. So it is about thinking, okay, what is my plan to move myself forward, and not understanding what your goal is as well, because your plan will be different depending on whether you want to move up or whether you actually want to get different kinds of experience or skill. And obviously, if you're on the life plateau, so you've chosen to plateau for a period while you've got other responsibilities, it's about thinking how you can reframe your success criteria while you are plateauing, because you're going to probably plateau for, it could be a few years. So if you're driven by achievement or financial reward or status, then being on that plateau, that life plateau, is going to be quite frustrating. So it's thinking about how you can reframe it and think about your success being different. So your success might be about gaining new skills or experiences, taking on different projects, working flexibly, bringing more creativity into your work. So thinking about that can help you manage and navigate that life plateau for the period that you're going to be on it. And it's also going to prepare you for when you're ready to re-engage with your career in a different way. So then whether you're peaking or plateauing, you also need to be paying attention to your visibility and networking strategy, because you still want to make sure you are promoting what you're doing, whether you're peaking or plateauing. Because remember, if you're plateauing, you're still really good at what you do. You just haven't got the engagement, or you can't move forward for some reason. So you still want to be thinking about, how am I promoting myself and my team? How am I talking about what I'm doing? Who do I want to get visible in front of? And how do I want to be visible? So making sure that's part of your planning process, whether you're peaking or plateauing. And obviously, if you're peaking, you want to take advantage of the success you're having and be talking about that, to kind of be laying the groundwork for your next role. So talking about it with people internally and externally. So let me just do a little recap of what we've talked about. So we've talked about how to notice energetically whether you're peaking or plateauing in your career. Then we've talked about the 5 different types of plateaus. So structural, content, contribution, life plateau, and voluntary plateau. So noticing which plateau or plateaus you might be on, or whether you're actually peaking. And then we've looked at what can you do next around being active and strategic in your career, thinking about having a plan, putting reviews in place to make sure you're not drifting, thinking about your self-promotion, visibility, and networking strategy. So I hope you found that useful. Obviously, if you think I need some help getting off my plateau, or I need some help capitalizing on my peaking so that I'm ready for that next role, then obviously do get in touch with me. We can book in a career breakthrough call to help you work out what it is you need to help you move you forward in your career, whether you're peaking or plateauing. I'd love to hear from you. So do, let me know if that's helpful. Send me a direct message and we can book in a career breakthrough call. I will be back here next Wednesday at 12:15 with another live on a career topic. So I look forward to seeing you here. Thank you very much for joining me live if you have been with me live, and have a great week, and I'll see you next Wednesday.